Knock everything off this.
That's right, knock everything over. Alright, we're trying to figure out fenders. That's a Springer front fender. That doesn't really fit very well, but it has a shape I like. It's hard to see the shape from this close. A little bit better look at it. So right now I got about a socket about that tall under the tire, which is going to be your suspension travel. So that's basically where it's going to sit. Go grab me that big bucket seat over there on the bench. You passed it. Keep going. No. Bucket seat. That's not a bucket. That way. That's a bucket. I don't want the bucket seat. I want a bucket seat, not a bucket in a, not a seat in a bucket. That's a seat, goes in the bucket. I want the bucket seat.
Where the hell's, oh, back here.
No. Put this back over there.
Okay.
Seat and box. Harley parts, remember? We showed this in the video. I said you watched some of the videos. I even got the T-bar now that goes with it. If we want to use a T-bar. See, T-bar goes here. See how that works?
Yeah. Oh, I see.
But I didn't want to put the seat that far forward. Here, you can hold that. Okay, this is a fancy plastic bag here. Oops. It accidentally. Okay, so that. If you get off this stupid plastic crap. It goes in the seat like this. And this goes over here like this. It's all made from mock-up always. Look at that. Oh, it's like it almost fits. Amazing how things fit Harleys that are made for Harleys. Alright, so that is your stock seat and stock location. See, it's supposed to be up here on the seat post right like that. Which looks a little different when you got a fender way in the back. Now, I was thinking about maybe doing something different. Moving things to the back a little bit. Put the seat down here, like this. We'll have to work on the bracketry later, but something back like this here. Have to have something underneath a little bit. See, I need a bunch of short 2x4s, which I don't have. That looks like a short 2x4, doesn't it?
2 inches tall.
There you go. I was thinking about putting it like there, or thereabouts. That's what we're looking at. Now this fender here does not fit very well. And it needs a lot longer swing arm. See, I was going to lengthen the swing arm down here. The reason I wanted to lengthen the swing arm was to get the wheel back where it belongs. Now this cannot run here. It has to go forward about an inch from where it is right now. So it's not even true right now where it's going to sit. So basically this fender can't go up or down. If I weld it to the swing arm like I want to do, it still doesn't fit really well. You have to go way up over here to make it fit, and that would be, you have to cut the whole front out to clear the oil tank. So this fender is not working very well. Now, unless you really modify it a lot. So where are those struts that I have? So these are genuine chopper stuff back in the day. What year was the day?
1969.
There you go. So here's another one here that's still welded together. They ran flat fenders on these things, which are kind of butt ugly. So this is one here that someone's already improved the looks of it by cutting off the brace. These are modified. Now a lot of times they didn't run shocks on these bikes, they ran struts. So the mount is on the inside, like right here. Like that. So I need a bolt. So with my big 18-inch tire I want to run, you can see how we got a clearance issue. So these struts are going to have to come down a little bit, or I'm going to have to slot these holes out. If you look right here, there's plenty of room to move this hole right over here. We can drop this hole down, weld this one up, drop it way down, which will raise the strut up a little higher. And then we're free to put a fender on here of some type. And the struts, instead of being way out here and real fat, it's going to be on the inside, so we're keeping it real thin from the back view. So you look at the back view of the bike, it's pretty thin. And the shocks I got coming are going to be right up against the frame here, instead of being spaced out like Harley shocks were. And they're going to be smaller than these two, but the same length. It'll be a week or two before I see the shocks. eBay crap. Okay, now this is the front fender. I'm not sure if we're going to use that or not. Remember, this goes forward. This wheel does not sit in that location.
No, you can see there's. It needs to go forward some more.
It'll sit over here. So if I take this, jam it up its ass, here, it'll probably stay there. There we go. So that's where it's really going to sit. Now this is a pretty ugly looking fender.
Looks too modern for the bike. Looks like a Yamaha Scrambler.
It doesn't do anything for you? I'm thinking like 70s dirt bike.
Yamaha Scrambler.
Is that what a 70s dirt bike is?
Something like that.
Oh, okay.
Like those old bull tacos or
If I
something.
turn it this direction, does that help it any?
A little bit. Just a hair.
Still looks like a dirt bike from the 70s to me.
Yeah, a trail bike or something.
Okay, so we don't like this one at all. Alright, next one we got. Let's use a boat anchor. Does that sound?
Yeah.
That is thick.
It was built by NASCO.
That's 1/8 inch material. This looks like it's made for a late model Harley with a stupid bracket like that. That is a real, you could drop this thing from a 10-story building, I don't think it'd hurt it. That is a, you don't need no struts with this fender.
It was for the war. Take a bullet. It would ricochet off the fender.
Okay. If it had more of a peak on it, it'd be a nice fender.
Actually, that looks good right there.
The width is good.
Yeah,
It's
I
just,
like the width.
Doesn't need that little roll to it.
Yeah.
This side here, they're equal. See, they have the roll on that side and then this side. Yeah, they're cut the same. Is there a length difference? If I had to guess, I'd say this
I'm
side was
pretty
longer.
sure.
Axle's in the right spot. Just not made back. It needs to have a little in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could always cut it and
Yeah, you could
flare it,
do something with it.
make it look better than what it does.
Right.
Problem is you can't run it in that position unless you affix it to the fender, to the wheel, to the swing arm.
Mm-hmm.
And this is definitely thick enough. You could affix it to a swing arm real easy.
Oh, you could do anything to this one, yeah.
So if you put that thing up like that, you can definitely make that work. So we need something to space it up to make it look what we need. Got any space material around here?
Should be around something laying around here. How about belts?
Maybe over there for a reason.
Yeah.
What do you do with an old broken belt?
Use it as spacers.
How much tire clearance do you want?
That would be about 3/8 right there. That'd probably be about half.
So that's enough for high-speed driving?
I think so.
Assuming we can find a tire that size these days. 460 18s aren't common anymore. So we might have to go maybe one of those belts to two. I have to measure it, but I don't know. tire looks flat, so it's probably okay. Okay, that looks good. So we just need to flare a little bit. It's definitely thick enough that we don't have to worry about struts. And I don't think this looks too bad.
No, it looks good. I like it.
We're definitely going to cut this off, though.
Yeah, but the...
And we already got a hoop bracket location. Well, we don't have one for the other side. But
looks a little different. That's what I like.
we need to weld one of these on the other side to mount the hoop to it, to support it. Or just weld a bracket. Probably just weld a bracket on here. I like the width. Looks good. Does it look too narrow from behind?
Actually,
Definitely narrower than I was expecting to run back here with a
you know what?
frame.
Actually, when it's leveled up correctly and all that, it don't look too bad, because it's the look of the wheel is already narrow, so it's good, you know, so it's good. Right about there.
These could be mounted on there to hold it, you know, but you have to have more tire clearance so it goes up and down.
Right.
So you wouldn't have enough
Travel. Yeah.
You have to weld onto the fender to get more height to it to make it look right. So that's why you make them go up and down with a fender.
Right.
With the tire.
Right.
You can make it look like a rigid frame.
Right.
Nice tight clearance.
So if you put
instead of having your 3 inches
right.
in there.
So if you put a pillion seat here and you go on a big dip or a pothole, the chick flies over the handlebars.
So he'd be hitting you in the back of your back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works.
She'd be like, yeah. She'd land on top of your.
But that fender's thick enough, you wouldn't have to worry about bending it.
She'd land on top of your shoulders upside down.
That's right. Face first.
That's right.
All right. Well, that's definitely an option. I just didn't know if it looks correct in the back and getting that thin with everything else being fat, but yeah. See, we can narrow this side of the swing arm, but we can't narrow this side. You know, move the swing arm in.
Right.
So, if you look at the swing arm, let me see that. See how the swing arm here. Here's your frame rail right here. See how the swing arm's kind of in the inside of the frame?
Right.
And over here, it's with the frame.
Oh, I
So
see.
if the swing arm is over here, it would look a lot better.
You're talking about this here.
Yeah, if that was cut and
It
moved
lines
in.
up with this right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas this one, see, it doesn't.
Right.
So there's no reason for this to be way out here because there's nothing over here.
No.
So we can move that thing way over to here and make it like the other side.
Uh-huh.
You have to cut the swing arm to do it, but
Right.
you know, whatever.
I see what you mean.
No one here has been above modifications.
No.
And we still got these rectangular ones we can use, which are very easy to modify. The round ones are harder to modify.
Right. You can still do it, but it'll take a little bit more time.
And remember, if we do this, we can lengthen it too quite a bit.
Right.
If we want to. We can add that extra inch of material in there, but with this, see, with this small fender here, we probably have enough room to go up and down. It'd go right up in here. It would bounce up inside here.
I actually like the round style of
I like the round one too.
arm because it matches the whole frame and all that stuff.
Yeah, but you know, there's limitations of what we can do. It doesn't look too bad. But the swing arm starts looking real fat on the other side, but you know, it's a fine tuning thing. It takes a lot of work to fix those fine tuning problems.
Oh yeah, just tedious work.
The other option is this one. And these are all fenders we used to use back in the day. You know what day that was? A few decades ago days. This is your narrow glide Sportster custom fender. I don't even know if they even make this fender. You know how it looks like a Springer fender but narrower? See how it doesn't fit, it's too narrow.
Way too narrow. And this is front or rear?
It's a front fender for a narrow glide.
Right.
But it has the look of the Springer. It's the same shape. So the problem is that you have to cut the bracket off in here, that are in here. Then you got to beat the crap out of this to flatten this back out, and then you got to cut the fender. But the problem is the fender's really narrow.
Right.
This is not made to have a big 18-inch tire in the back. It's made to have a little skinny front 18-inch tire in the back. See, it's just too narrow, and I don't think it'll even clear because it's so narrow up here at the top.
And then plus the inside brackets that's kind of...
So this one here you'll put on the bike if it would fit, and you would use the strut to hold it. Like this. You put the strut on that to hold it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to mount it way up high in the air, which makes it look kind of stupid again. Now if you put it, if you mount it to the swing arm, again, you can do that. But the problem is the fender is too narrow. We'd have to cut this and widen it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a, it's a ½ inch to an inch too narrow. Basically an inch too narrow. What do you figure we need, 6 inches?
I'd say so.
I think we had 7 1/4 here, didn't we? Yeah. So we take an ½ inch for struts on the inside of the frame. Then that's 6 1/4 inches. So we got to be like 6 inches. So this is 5 1/4, but see it's at a big V angle.
Right.
See, it's not square at all. We need to be this width here. Let's see if we're this width here. Get this right over the fender, no problem.
Right. This part here.
Right.
That looks cool too. I like this little design.
Yeah, I didn't really want to have that fat bob look to it like the fender, but I didn't really want that look like that on the back. I like that in the front.
Kind of looks like what.
You're making a fat bob fender on it. I don't like looking in the back underneath.
No.
I really hate that look. Yeah, I got fat bob fenders up front. They look like this. Yeah, big.
Yeah, yeah.
All you do, you just look at the big air gap that's in here. It looks like crap.
Right.
This comes down and hides it, so you don't see it.
Right.
But the problem is this fender is so narrow, it just doesn't fit very well. So
Right.
we'd have to widen this fender ½ to 3/4 of an inch, which I got here in the middle. At least a ½ inch minimum, probably 5/8 of an inch is what you need to widen it, really, to make it fit correctly. And then you bend these back so they're sitting straight instead of being bowed out. So it'll take a lot of work to make this work, but it gives a nice shape. But you have more of a straight cut here. You don't have the real
Radius.
You don't have the Springer cut. Yeah.
Right.
So surprisingly, this late model fender here looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, that one's looks.
It definitely is heavy.
Yeah, would look to be a.
It's got the right width to it.
Yep, it's beefy.
It's definitely beefy. Surprised the late model product works, but it's not exactly a stock part. So it's probably why it works.
Right.
So here's our 6 inches we were looking for. 6 1/8, 6 inches. So yeah, that's why it would fit. Now we could put this on with struts, but I think we could probably just put this right on the damn swing arm. I don't give a squat about that swing arm being chrome.
No.
So we can cut it, modify it, and then glue it all back together with a
Yeah.
and paint it black and call it done.
Yeah.
We need to make. I think the problem with this is we lose the radius. It flattens out on us.
It's okay. Just kind of beat it a little bit and stretch it out, heat it up, stretch it out, and give it a.
When it's the problem is flat. It needs to. It's not following the curve.
That can be fixed though.
See, it gets flat right there.
Yeah.
See, this is curved. That's why it doesn't look right, because the Springer fender goes. It never stops curving.
Right. So
It doesn't have the radius in it anymore.
What you want is you want the turn, and then you want.
Yeah, we want to keep a radius and over.
Right.
This.
That could be fixed.
Yeah, you just cut off this much of it and fix the problem.
Well, you can too. Also, you could
And then you
cut
roll
it this way.
All you do is you cut it and you roll it forward a little bit like
Right.
that.
You could also slit it, and then you know, push it in, weld it, and then stretch it and get that nice.
No, you don't do that. You cut it right on the radius right here.
Yeah.
And then you can fold it. And then you have to come back and deal with these.
You could do that too, yeah.
You don't have to cut this because that would bend.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you don't have to do that. Just kind of like
The flat part would very easily radius over.
That's right.
But you can see, just cut this thing off short and just roll the fender back more. And
You could do that too.
we just have a little gap up here.
I guess, yeah, you could do that
But
too.
we got to make a bracket right here anyway, so we just gusset the swing arm by welding the gusset in the front. Tie it together a little bit.
Yeah, and it still gives you enough play to.
We just have to keep enough room for the tire adjustment up here.
Right.
And the problem is the swing arm movement.
Right.
We're going to get in the way. We're going to come up into the back of this tank at some point.
You don't want it too close to the tank though, right? Because when the wheel does this with this part of that.
You can't. Again, remember this.
Yeah, this is going to swing with this at the same time.
Yeah, but see, the tire is going to move back and forth as you use the chain.
Right.
So you have to have it adjustable. You have to make it where it can be all the way forward and still not hit. They're going to hit right here.
Right.
It hits at the 45.
Right.
It doesn't hit down here. It doesn't hit up here. It hits right here.
Right. The seat. That's the first thing that would hit. Yes.
So see right now we're sitting on the tire. Even though we got this much clearance here, we only have this much here.
Right.
And we got a ½ inch here. That means you lose one of these when you go forward. So we're already going to be a problem. Now if you put it all the way against that stop there, that's probably about as close as you can get forward. And still, because we have the tire clearance issue. And then when you get up here, you see there's no clearance here. But how much does the fender actually arc up and down? That's probably enough to clear. And we can go, this is so fender, it can actually, so narrow, it can actually go inside the oil tank a little bit. You know, these brackets can be bent in.
Yes.
Because we're not really using these brackets anyway. So that it can actually recess into the tank and come up and go into the tank, you know.
Right.
It can come up that close, it wouldn't hurt it.
That's right.
You're never going to hit here. So we might be able to do something like that too. You just have to kind of play around with this stuff and see what it does.